So let me go ahead and tell everybody the aftermarket has hit for the MS462 and the MS500i as far as the oil pumps go. The 661 probably soon to follow. I don't know how they're getting around that. This oil pump right here, aftermarket MS462, MS500. I have stated my opinion on this already. They are inferior in quality, obviously. You get what you pay for. The OEM pump is around $120 to $160, depending on where you get it, for the MS462 and 500i. Incidentally, the MS382 uses the same pump, so there's a lot of aftermarket floating around for that. And this is the 044 today, and this is aftermarket for our 660 right here, and then this is aftermarket 361, 362, 400, etc. And you see a heavy JB weld right there, breakage. The bores, the piston pump bores, they do not hold up, and you get blow by, leaks, bleed down, etc. Obviously the components do not hold up, inferior worm drive gears, etc. So that's my findings. So I've been running clutches off here for a minute. I want to answer some questions that have been in videos of mine concerning the 044 MS440, as well as some things about the STIHL MS462 and MS500 as far as oil pumps are concerned. I have seen in advertising and on various YouTube channels that the 044 MS440 shares an oil pump with the 341, 361, 441, 046, 460, 461, 400, etc. It does not. The MS440 and 044 use this oil pump. It's in my hand right here. This is the oil pump from all the other saws that we mentioned. Okay, so it's very different. The bolt pattern of the 044, the bolts are vertical. The other saws, the bolt pattern is horizontal. You also notice this pipe which goes from the pump to the bar plate. And there is no pipe on this one. So no, and this is turning up in the aftermarket that this fits the 400, 046, 460, etc. Stay with me right here and I'll pull it up. I'll pull it up on eBay. So here we are on eBay. Search on eBay. let's type in STIHL 044 oil pump. And that's what we got, the top one there. That's very incorrect. You see listed 361 044 046 MS 440. That's incorrect. No trickery, none of that stuff. And I've seen on various YouTube channels the same thing. So to go over this again, this is your oil pump for the 044 MS 440, and this is for all the other saws that we mentioned. So here's your pickup, and this is upside down. Here's your pickup from the oil tank. Here it is on this one. And you see the bolt pattern, how they bolt up in the saw. There's where your adjustment is, your flow adjustment. And then going from the pump itself to the bar plate, you have this area versus this, which is piped. They are very different, and they do not interchange. So concerning, and it's just information. That's FYI. That's for you to know. So when you see this, positively identify what you're doing. And there is a cult following with the 044 MS 440, and all those guys know that. I personally have owned the 044 MS 440 and have answered such comments in my oil pump videos. That's kind of my bread and butter, oil pumps of these series. So here's the last one I pulled the clutch off of. Absolutely not. No way. No. No. We'll get in here and get you a good look in here. No. 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 And no. So a whole bunch of saws that do not use this oil pump. This is for the MS 440 044. And I've had questions about, you know, the pump piston. Will that interchange? No. It has a very different setup than the pump that's used on the 341, the 361, the 362, the 400, the MS 441, the 046, the 460, and the 461. And this is exclusively for the 044 MS 440. So no, this pump will not, and the high output pump for all the other saws will not work on the 044 MS 440. And the configuration is absolutely wrong. It will not work. Same clutch that I pulled off every one of those saws you saw me run off with the impact. Same clutch. And I have never burned a clutch of that series. I've been running that series a long time. I have broken a shoe, and here is that shoe. And it was very low hour shoe. You notice there are no heat marks. And that's the only shoe that I have ever damaged. Or roasted a clutch on this series, period, ever. If you're turning RPMs, you getting oil to that bar, and that clutch is not slipping, you ain't gonna burn no clutch. That's all there are to that. So I want everybody to see this clutch up close. And there's the shoe surfaces. Let me get my drum. Here's the drum. Get your part number right there. Okay. And yes, I have a lot of these components. Just wanted you to see that. So I'm going to throw all this stuff back together. I wanted to show you this right quick. little Altoids tin. I keep a mixture of high temperature brake and drum and bearing grease, wheel bearing grease, brake grease, high temperature. I keep it in one of these little Altoid smalls. It's a good grease, it won't melt and run. So it gives a high quality grease. So concerning the 462 and 500i oil pumps and interchangeability with this series, on the left, the 462 500i pump, you see this area here, and then this is what's on the 400, the 461, etc. You see this area here, that's the interface. On the 400 and 461, this is inside the crankcase. That rubber grommet is inside the crankcase. On the 462 and 500, this sticks inside that area. That's your difference. That's why you cannot put this oil pump in a 400 or a 461 for that matter. Why would you want to? That pump on the left is considerably more expensive than the one on the right in any configuration. If you're buying the pump straight out, this pump is cheaper. If you're modifying this pump is cheaper. This pump with the pin pressed in will pump all you want on a 36. I have no idea on a 42. I don't know anybody that's running a 42 on the 462 or 500. But I do know this pump, the HO model of this pump, the standard model when modified to be HO, or buying the HO model, will oil a 42. I've done it with an unmodified bar. So that is your difference. And I will install this in a 400 just to demonstrate without that grommet. Let's see what happens. All right, rolling again real time, just so you can see it, how it works out. Okay, so I'll pick you up something you actually need to see. Lean you over just a little bit. Okay. Now I'm sure that with some machining, this area here, we're making contact here. Of course, this entire pump body is different in this area. So we're having interference here. This is fine. You could possibly machine off the bar plate pump interface and get that correct, and then install the bushing, and that work. Maybe. So right there you can see up close to that. That fits inside of there. That's where a problem comes, and then that area right there. That particular area gets into the body of the saw where your adjuster screws at. So that's the issue there. So hands-on, and now you know up close and personal if you haven't already experienced that. So the problem area is right here. There's interference inside the pocket where the chain brake is at against the crankcase, this area right here, and then obviously this area here. That's your differences between those pumps. So you've got interference here, and then obviously this interface here is very different. And that's not to mention what the distances are, and I just don't know. They'd have to be scanned or CMM measured to know about the ring gear and pinion alignment between the worm gear and the pump piston with this setup. I simply do not know. So let me go ahead and tell everybody the Aftermarket has hit for the MS462 and the MS500i as far as the oil pumps go. The 661 probably soon to follow. I don't know how they're getting around that. This oil pump right here, Aftermarket MS462, MS500. I have stated my opinion on this already. They are inferior in quality, obviously. You get what you pay for. The OEM pump is around $120 to $160, depending on where you get it, for the MS462 and 500i. Incidentally, the MS382 uses the same pump, so there's a lot of aftermarket floating around for that. And this is the 040, and this is aftermarket for our 660 right here, and then this is aftermarket 361, 362, 400, etc. And you see a heavy JB weld right there, breakage. The bores, the piston pump bores, they do not hold up, and you get blow by, leaks, bleed down, etc. Obviously the components do not hold up, inferior worm drive gears, etc. So that's my findings and information of the day.